Hello everyone. Welcome back to my fourth monthly devlog for my currently in development game, the Talisman. I say monthly, but really that word is doing a lot of heavy lifting there. Between my last post in mid-July last year and now, there's just been so much that's been going on that's gotten my attention on a chokehold. It's been so hard to find time in my busy schedule to actually get some coding in to push any changes or any features to the game. I was still making small contributions here and there a handful of months after July, but to be honest, there hasn't been a lot of focus sessions between July and I'd say January. January was when I started actually locking in and committing changes and new features almost every day. My IT contract ended in late December last year, so now that I have some time, I've been really trying to get as much features in as possible and try to push the game project state to as close as I can get to the game design document's ideal before the next life event rolls around to take away all my time and effort. In terms of life events, I have decided to go back to school in September. If all goes well and I start in September, I'll have to put an indefinite hold on this project and my game development career as a whole. I've really been trying to switch careers all this time, and not because I don't like making games, but as a career, the games industry is way too volatile and way too cutthroat for me to actually make any standard of living off it. But anyways, with that out of the way, let me show you my progress. When I got back into the project, I realized it would be difficult to expand on the behavior trees and anymore simply because the enemy AI simply didn't have enough attacking moves to form a coherent strategy of behaviors for the player to counter. So I put the AI business on hold and I started learning animations. I made a bunch of attack animations on Blender. After watching the tutorial, it felt quite like a straightforward process. As soon as I figured out how to make poses for the animations and export them to Unity, I've been making animations at the rate of 1 to 3 a day. Making basic animations really did feel that easy. Um, I'll show you some of the moves I made. Okay, here are some of the moves that I've made. So the button display on the right side there, I've added a button display to show you all the inputs. You can see the icons on the right there moving upwards. The button display is kind of buggy right now, but to be honest, I probably won't have much time to work on the button display until much later on. So you're probably going to keep seeing the button display in this state for a couple of future devlogs. The camera perspective. I changed the camera perspective. Um, I just decided that if the game is a fighting game which is focused a lot on movement, you're going to want to be able to gauge your distance with your opponent so you don't miss your attacks. This isn't going to be like your standard third-person action game where the player kind of snaps to the enemy when attacking. You kind of have to battle for space and play around with the positioning to get yourself in an advantageous position to attack. I'm going to make the game feel a lot similar to a traditional 3D fighting game, and this camera perspective I think will work best for that. The attacks. Here are the attacks. I made some new animations and I changed the animations for almost all the states. As you see, the idle animation is a lot different than it was before. The three input combo for horizontal and vertical attacks are also different. Here are the three move combos for horizontal attacks. And these are the three move combos for vertical attacks. Additional to that, you can now also chain um, charging heavy attacks in any state of the combo. So if I were to 1, 2, I can charge right there, and it has a new charge animation. And then I can also do the same for the horizontal vertical attacks. I can charge at any state of the combo. This feature has been a pain point for me to implement, and I'm so proud that I was able to figure this out. And here are the input combos. You have on the list on the top right, there are input combos I've added to the game. The first one is forward L2, which is a follow-up push kick. When I press L2 for vertical attack and forward L2, it chains a follow-up push kick. The coolest move I The coolest attack move I added is the next one below, the cartwheel kick. I press forward forward L2 and the player does an aerial somersault and lands on both feet. Now your sword isn't the only weapon in your arsenal, as some moves can also use kicks, kind of like the follow-up push kick. Um, you can also do a follow-up spin attack with L2 after the cartwheel kick, just to catch your opponent off guard if they block the last attack. So if I press 4 for L2, oh shit, 4 for L2, 4 for L2, L2. Oh, actually, it's forward jump L2. I did change the inputs there. Forward jump L2. So see, I press forward jump L2 and it does a cartwheel kick. And then also when I press R2 right at the end, it does a full up spin move. Like that. There's the jump L2, which is the jump attack. It's a fairly simple move, one of the first animations I created. It's decent, but it jumps a bit too high though. I'm probably going to have to lower that soon. There's the back crouch L2, which does the back turn low thrust. The animation for this move was inspired by a female ninja in this 3D game called Tekken. The character's name is Kunimitsu. A lot of the animations for these moves I imitated the poses by hand from other Tekken characters like Jun Kazama, Xiao Yu, and Julia Chang. This is another amazing animation that I think I nailed well. Forward crouch L2 does a downward slash that ends the player in a crouch state. That's the downward slash. And for the horizontal attacks, you have the horizontal three move combo, which you can also chain a heavy attack. You can also chain a heavy attack when at any moment. And so for the combos, the input combos, we have 4 dodge R2, which does a dashing slash, your standard move. I did create a new animation for the dashing slash. That's better than the placeholder I was using before. You have, I'm gonna get a bit closer here to the target for this one. You have right crouch R2, which does a sidestep low sweep. I based this animation on one of Xiao Yu's moves. Forward crouch R2 does a spinning low sweep. You also have the dashing movement, which I have been doing a lot this throughout the video. You press D-pad right or flick the analog stick twice, and then the player sidesteps to the right. So you just have to press it twice, or flick the analog stick twice, and then the player sidesteps to any direction you double flick it to. You press the square button to crouch, and there are now two moves you can perform in the crouch state. You have a horizontal low, and then you have a vertical high that returns you to a standing position. I changed the sprint animation so you can sprint while targeting an opponent. You also have the dodge animations, although the dodge animations are kind of terrible. I'm going to have to change them at some point. Yeah, dodge animations are the hardest animations to make, and these ones are the best I've got so far. I'm still like a beginner to animation, so I made so many changes to the character controllers and the state machines in the game that I inadvertently broke the enemy AI. The enemy AI is kind of buggy right now, so I can't really show you anything with the NPC character. However, now that I have a bunch of attack animations for the enemy AI to use, I can now focus on my main goal, which is working on behavior trees, utility AI, and forming a proper AI enemy that adapts to your moveset and attack patterns and tries to counter them with movement and its own attacks. Also, I don't think I fully explained the difference between horizontal and vertical attacks. Horizontal attacks are attacks that can clip you if you try to sidestep or dodge and you don't get out of the way in time. However, you are able to jump over and duck them cleanly as long as they're not low attacks. Vertical attacks will clip you if you're jumping or ducking, but you can easily sidestep and dodge them. Low attacks can't be blocked while standing, and you have to block while crouching to block them. Thank you all for the patience in waiting to hear back from my last devlog. I really appreciate you watching my videos. It gives me a ton of motivation to keep going. I hope to post for you again soon on my next devlog, and hopefully it will be a lot sooner than normal. Thank you. Bye.